So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on HelixGPT Insight Finder. I believe this now is our third one of Insight Finder, and we've also run an RC Expert session. I will share out the RC Expert session if you didn't make that, which was last week. Today joining me is Veronica Mina, who's going to be running the presentation and the demo today. We're also delighted to be joined by a team of panelists that will help answer your questions. So if you do have any during this session, because you'll be remain muted until towards the end, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section of Zoom, which you'll find at the bottom of your screen. Pop your questions in there. The team will endeavour to answer those. And then roughly around 15 minutes before the end, we will take it to live Q&A. Again, it depends on how long Veronica needs to go through all the demo, but we will spend some time answering your questions. And I know typically I get asked, will all the content get shared out? Yes, it will. We will be sharing out the slides, the recording and the questions, and we will be pointing you to a workshop group area in communities where you can ask further questions to the team. So without further ado, I'm now going to hand over to Veronica, who will get us started, and do look out for a poll. I will be launching that when I hand over. So Veronica, over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Really appreciate it. Good day, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Veronica Mena, and I am part of the Helix Adoption Advisor team here at BMC Helix. My purpose today is to be your dedicated guide through the configuration steps of the Insight Finder. To ensure we make the best use of the time, let's quickly review the agenda and the structure of our session. So our agenda is structured to take you from the foundational knowledge to the complete working configuration. We just completed introduction. Now, next week we'll conduct a brief prerequisite review to ensure your environment complies with all the technical requirements. I will then provide an Insight Finder overview explaining its capabilities. Following that, I will detail the core configuration elements required for its configuration. Then we move into the configuration demo, where I will walk you through the step of the configuration process. And once it is configured, I will demonstrate the dashboard creation to show the solution in action. Finally, we will have a dedicated QA session to address all the remaining questions. This roadmap will ensure you leave today with a full operational understanding of the Insight Finder. Before we dive into the configuration, let's quickly review the technical requirements. The first requirement is to ensure that the Helix Service Management is running under the version 25.200 or higher. In addition, HelixGPT Agent Studio and Helix Platform Common Services must be both in the version 25.3 or higher. If your current version are older than this minimum, a system update will be necessary before implementing the solution. Also, guys, keep in mind, after your upgrade, you may need to require from support HelixGPT to be enabled. By default, sometimes it's not enabled. So if you don't see the HelixGPT Agent Studio after the upgrade, please submit a case and the people from support should be able to help you. Next, you will need an admin permission from both Innovation Suite and the Helix dashboard. All of the HelixGPT agents operate under the Bring Your Own LLM model, meaning the power comes from the LLM that you will provide. Therefore, for this particular agent, you need a subscription for one of the following providers, either Azure OpenAI or Google Verse. It is crucial that during the setup, please have the API endpoint URL and the API key for the LLM of your choice. Finally, for those who want to maximize the impact of the data we will be discussing, we highly recommend either attending or watching a recording of the webinar From Data to Decisions, Elevate Your Helix Dashboard with Insight Finder. It provides a valuable context on leveraging the agent capabilities within your organization. HelixGPT Insight Finder simplifies and accelerates your data process. It makes creating complex dashboards faster and significantly improves the quality of the insights you gain from your data. The best part, it is incredibly easy to use. There is no complex setup, no coding, no need to involve your data experts. The agent can be up and running in minutes. How it works? Insight Finder is a React agent type. This simply means it's a smart and AI that combines clear thinking with immediate steps, helping it making better and more accurate decisions. Insight Finder first builds a contextual understanding by analyzing the user prompt. Based on its reasoning, the agent takes decision by invoking the APIs operating in our database. It then receives feedback from the environment to inform its next steps. This is where Insight Finder truly shines. You simply ask a question like, show me all the critical incidents from the last week, and it automatically generates a dashboard from that input. Once the dashboard is generated, you retain the full control. Now you can change the chart type, add filters, add follow-up questions. It is fast, intuitive, and designed for everyone. Before we can proceed with the HelixGPT Insight Finder configuration process, you should understand the foundational system components that will be either created or updated. The first step is to serve the connection to your chosen AI service provider. Although the models are predefined in the system, through the out-of-the-box implementation, we must update the model configuration first to establish this critical connection. This allows the HelixGPT to successfully communicate with your LLM. Once that initial connection is established, the rest of the configuration involves creating a few other core components that enables the AI-driven dashboard generation and the data interaction capability. Specifically, we are going to be updating 2 agents and 1 skill. The main goal of creating and updating these components is to generate a unique skill ID. This new skill ID is the critical element that we will transfer to the Helix dashboard as the final configuration step to ensure the feature is fully operational. Together, these components form the complete and operational foundation of the Insight Finder. All these components are configured directly within the HelixGPT Agent Studio. To gain access, you must have the Innovation Suite admin role, which is essential for making necessary system-level changes. Once you have this permission, accessing the studio is very simple. You navigate from your environments portal to the BMC Helix Innovation Suite, and from there, you only select the BMC HelixGPT Agent Studio. This will bring you to the main interface where we will begin the configuration process. Starting with version 25.201, the HelixGPT Agent Studio comes with preloaded default configuration values for Insight Finder. It is what we refer as seeded data. Seeded data represents the out-of-the-box records that are pre-populated during the installation or upgrade process. The purpose of this data is to provide a working foundation, offering the full configuration, sample templates, and essential system values that the application needs and you can build upon it. This is absolutely critical to understand the fundamental best practice that applies to all our HelixGPT Agent Studio agents. Seeded records are intended only as templates and must not be used directly in your final configuration. To protect your work, always create copies of the seeded records and use those custom copies for your configuration. If you use the seeded records directly, you risk losing your unique configuration during the future Agent Studio update. After successfully completing the creation and update of the foundational data records, there are 2 final critical steps to accomplish. The first step is to ensure the Insight Finder feature is fully operational by transferring the newly created skill ID to the Helix dashboard. You will perform this update by navigating in your environment from the Helix dashboards, HelixGPT Insight Finder, and there you go to set. The second step is crucial for adoption. You must manage the access control within the Helix dashboard to ensure your general user base can interact with the new functionality. Keep in mind, by default, only administrators can access the HelixGPT Insight Finder. To enable other users, you must set up the permissions by navigating to the Helix dashboard, administration, user and access, and then you go to roles. From there, you will grant the necessary permissions through the Manage Permissions screen. There are 2 types of permissions for the Helix Insight Finder use: access and create dashboard. We recommend a tiered approach for these permissions. Grant access permissions to all or most users. This allows the vast majority of your users to view and benefit from the dashboard generated by the Insight Finder. create dashboard permissions for a few power users. These are the individuals who need the ability to initiate and generate a new dashboard using the Insight Finder agent. This balanced approach ensures wide adoption across your organization, while still maintaining the control over who can create and modify core dashboards. Once our entire configuration process is complete, meaning the model, the agents, and the skill are full configured, the skill ID is updated, and the user rights are assigned, your users will be ready to immediately leverage the power of the Insight Finder. It is important to know that right away your users can create powerful dashboards using Insight Finder against the standard out-of-the-box views that are predefined in the system. For any custom data your organization uses, the process requires an additional step. Administrators must use the Reporting Metadata Studio tool to bring in your custom tables and fields. Once the fields are available, you will update the necessary custom fields. Finally, you will need to configure the HelixGPT Insight Finder to recognize and utilize those updated custom views. Please keep in mind that customers are responsible for creating their own custom views based on the out-of-the-box views we provide. If you are unfamiliar with this tool or require additional assistance, we can schedule a one-to-one session with one of our team members to cover this topic in detail. By following these steps, you ensure the Insight Finder is not limited to standard data, but can intelligently generate dashboards from your organization's unique custom data as well. Now, let's look at how simple it is for your end user to start leveraging this powerful tool. Once all the previous mentioned steps are completed, users can easily access the tool directly within the dashboard environment. All they need to do is access it from the Helix dashboards, and from there, they select HelixGPT Insight Finder. The user interface is designed for natural language interaction. Users simply type the prompts, and the Insight Finder generates the dashboard automatically. Here are just a few examples of the types of the prompts that you can use. Show the count of incidents, show a breakdown of the change request by status, show list of the problems submitted in the past month. It is really, truly that simple. You ask our agent a data question, and the Insight Finder builds a visualization for you. To help you better understand the Insight Finder configuration process, I would like to outline the deployment workflow. To configure Insight Finder, BMC follows a bottom-up approach. We start with the foundational components that handle the data before we define the final conversational experience. This design ensures that when the agent receives a request, the necessary tools are already in place to deliver the seamless answer. Here is explanation of the full configuration workflow. The components marked in red are pre-configured out of the box and ready to be used. This significantly simplifies our deployment process. We can focus exclusively on deploying the necessary components shown in blue and purple. Therefore, our workshop agenda will focus on three key steps. After establishing the connection to your LLM provider, we will create first the agent that is called ITSM Query Builder agent. Next, we will create the Insight Finder Supervisor agent. However, before creating the field marked in purple, we must update the Insight Finder Supervisor agent at the data record level. This involves adding the specific JSON code required for the agent to work properly. As the final step, we will create the Insight Finder Supervisor agent skill, marked in purple, and link it directly to the Insight Finder Supervisor agent that we previously created. By following this architectural forward, we ensure the final conversational agent is fully equipped with all the necessary capabilities to fetch, analyze, and preserve your ITSM data. In case you would like to know more about the purpose of each component, you can find detailed information here in this slide. We will be sharing the presentation after the workshop for your reference. That concludes the overview of the prerequisites and the foundational architecture. Now, it's time for the part of the session where we will bring the configuration to life. At BMC Helix, we understand that the setting up new tools requires precision. Therefore, we are moving into a live, hands-on demonstration environment, which is designed as detailed step-by-step walkthrough. During this live configuration demo, I will break down each step, guiding you to the screens and clearly specifying which values to insert for your model, agents, and skills. The goal for you is to follow along and execute the same steps in your own environment. Please have your API URL and the API key handy. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that you leave this session today with the Insight Finder agent completely ready to be used, enabling you to immediately leverage its full capabilities within your organization. However, before we start, I have two quick indications to make. During the configuration process, I won't be able to check the chat, but I have a dedicated team of BMC experts assisting me today, and they will be monitoring the QA panel to answer any specific questions. As we launch into the demo, please be aware that we will be working with multiple screens and browser tabs simultaneously. This is necessary because the configuration results are interdependent. We highly recommend keeping all these browsers open as we proceed. However, if you accidentally close a window or lose your place, simply pose the question in the QA panel, and one of our dedicated advisors will help you to get back on track. With that, let's begin. Now, let me, please, if you don't mind, I am going to close my camera so I can easily dive into the environment. Now, this is where the fun part begins. So, all right, let's look at where we actually got to start building this amazing agent. The process is very simple. First, we start at the main gate, which is the Helix portal. From the portal, we immediately need to jump to the innovation suite tile. This is the core platform that runs all of our BMC Helix applications. It will bring us to the innovation suite, which is the main development tool we use to build and customize applications. Now, here is the important part. Once you are in Innovation Studio, you have two distinct places from where we can access the HelixGPT Agent Studio. The first one is from the workspace, and you go to applications. You can actually do it from here as well, but it's easier if you go workspace application. Then, if you scroll down, you are going to find this HelixGPT Agent Studio option. This is where you go when you want to work on a low-level configuration. That means from the record level itself. The second option will be from the waffle that we have in here, that is called the Application Launcher. If you click in here and you scroll down as well, the number of applications that you will see here might be different from my screen, but anyways, you will have to find the one that is called HelixGPT Agent Studio. This is your friendly path. We use this to access the dedicated HelixGPT Agent Studio interface, from where we handle the high-level configuration, which means from where we create the agents, the skills, and the process. So we are going to start the configuration from here, from the application launcher. So please go ahead here to your waffle, select HelixGPT Agent Studio, and it's going to bring us to a new tab. Remember, please keep all these tabs open as we are going to get back eventually to the previous one. From here, you need to select Settings. Why? Because it's time for us to establish the connection to the LLM provider of your choice. So please click here. Once you are in Settings, expand HelixGPT, Connections, AI Service Provider, and this is where you are going to find the list of predefined models that we have for the system. You will have to choose the one of your choice. In my particular case, we are going to be using this that I have already predefined. Now, one of the best practices that we are trying to, to make the customers aware is to use a very distinctive name that will help you to easily identify either the model, the skills, the agents, or whatever element that you are working for the HelixGPT. In this particular case, I am going to rename mine as the BMC Helix because it's the one that I am going to be, it's a prefix that I am going to be using through the demonstration. Okay? So please select your model. In your model, you will have, depending on the vendor, you will have either Azure OpenAI or you can have Google Vertex. So in my case, it's going to be Azure OpenAI. The authentication type that I am selecting is going to be API key. But you also have to have available the version that you are using, the endpoint, the API key to be able to test the connection success. So in my case, I do have all this predefined. I am going to test my connection. And this is what we are expecting from you to have. You must have the connection successful before you can proceed to the next step. Once you have this information, please click on Save. However, before we go there, I want to share with you some maybe key information that you may find handy. Some of you may have received maybe from your administrators a URL like this one, okay? You may not have all the components breakdown as in the way that I have it here on the screen. If you have something like this, you pretty much have the information you require here, except for the API key. The API key is something that they have to have also provided to you, okay? So from here, you can get the API endpoint URL, which is going to be the first part of this URL, as you can see, all the way here to the / that you can find, okay? This is going to be the API URL. The other part that you can find from here is the deployment, which is going to be this particular name. You can see it's after the deploy. You can find this is going to be the name that you are going to use under the deployment name here. Okay? And then you also have the version. This is a version that you might be using. Okay, just keep that in mind because I have found some customers that they do not have, of course, the breakdown in the way that we are showing on the screen, but they get a link like this. And also, of course, the API key. So you can easily break down the different components as I am explaining here on the screen. Okay? Can I make a pause here? Can I have some thumbs up from you guys so that we know that you guys are up to here? Okay? Perfect. Nice. Thank you very much. Now, after this, please click on Save. And now we are ready to move to the second part. The second part is where we are going to be building the different agents and the skill. If you may remember my presentation, I show you that we have some pre-configured elements that we don't have to touch. And we also have two purple and two blue and one purple elements. So we are going to create this exactly in the same order that I presented during the presentation. So now from here, please move to the Agents tab. From the Agents tab, please click on Add Agent. From the Add Agent, under the name, add your prefix, the one that you chose for your, preference. In my case, it's going to be the BMC Helix. Sorry, BMC. And then you will have to add this text as well. It's going to be BMCH. And then please type ITSM Query Builder Agent. This is going to be the first component. We have to create this agent first because this agent is going to be a sub-agent of the Insight Finder agent that we will have to create second. So please go ahead, type your prefix, the name as ITSM Query Builder Agent. From the type, you must select ITSM Query Builder Agent. On the description, you can just copy and paste what you have here from the name. From the tools, you are going to select ITSM Query Builder. And now just select the provider of your choice. The one that I selected was this one. That's the reason that we highly recommend that you guys use, the prefix for for easy identify what you are working with. And then after that, you just click on save. Any questions so far? Are we successful creating the first agent? Okay. So now let's proceed to the second agent. The second agent we are going to be creating is going to be the Insight Finder Supervisor agent. From here, you click again Add Agent. We use the same prefix. And now you guys need to type Insight Finder Supervisor agent. Again, we highly, highly recommend to use distinctive names, because otherwise, by the time that you start creating all these many agents, you really won't know what the agent was created for. So in this case, you are going to know that it was created, for the Insight Finder. Once you have the name, established, now you select from the type, you are going to select ITSM Finder Supervisor agent. On the description, we are going to copy again, from the name to the description. From the tools, you don't need to select any. But this is the interesting part. From the sub-agent, you need to select the one that we just created. This is a crucial step, right? This is how you link the supervisor agent with the BMC ITSM Query Builder agent. Okay, this is the one that we just created. So please, from the list, be careful and select the one that you just created, the one that has your prefix. From there, you again select the provider and you click Save. Now, if you remember again my presentation, we have the two agents, the two blue components. Now, before we create the skill, it is necessary that we add a JSON code for the supervisor agent to really work with the ITSM Query Builder agent. So Sam, I don't know if whoever is from BMC, if you guys can help me to share the text that the people has to use. Excellent. Thank you very much. So now, Sam has shared the text that you guys are going to use. Before we do that, now it's time for us to go back to the Workspace Innovation Studio tab. From this tab, we are going to select HelixGPT Agent Studio. And from here, you can see that you are going to have the list of the records that we use, behind the scenes. This time around, we are going to select on Agent, click on the check mark. Now click on Edit Data. And since we have, so many agents listed, the easier way to identify which agent we have to work with is by just typing your prefix, hit Enter, and now you just have only the agents that you previously created, in the other during here in this application. Now you have your agent. Now, do me a favor, guys. On the text that you guys have received, you will have to modify it to use the name that you use during this configuration process. You can either have it handy or you can just copy from here. This is the name that you are using. In my case, is the one that I just created. Copy here. Paste it. And now this is the code that you have to use. You must replace it. Keep in mind and keep an eye that you don't have any extra spaces or any typos in there, because this is how the system is going to identify your agent. If you have a problem here, the supervisor agent is not going to be able to successfully, work by the time that we transfer the information to the Helix dashboard. So please modify this text. Now copy paste the text. And now what we are going to do is update the Insight Finder Supervisor agent. So please select this item. In my case, it's the first one. I don't know what is the order in your list, or in my case, it's the first one. Click on Edit. And you are going to replace everything that you see under the configuration field, including the brackets. The text that I provided has the brackets, so please keep in mind, you have to copy paste everything, otherwise it's not going to function. Now, this name that you can see here aligns with the subagent ID that we have in here. This subagent ID was put in place by the time, if you remember that we went to the subagent list and we click on the agent, this is how this was added here. So, but it's necessary also to add the name that we are using. And by adding this JSON code is how we complete the configuration. Any questions so far? Can I have some, no problem? Thumbs up? Okay, now it's time for us to save it. Don't forget to save it, because if you don't save it, that code is not going to be in place. So please save it. And now we have successfully configured or fully configured the Insight Finder Supervisor agent. Now it's time for us to create the skill, the final component. Now we go from the agents, we go back to from the agents page tab from the HelixGPT Agent Studio. We go back to the skills tab. From the application, you are going to select Helix Dashboards. From the Helix Dashboards, we are going to create a new supervisor skill. By default, you may have one skill that I think, if not mistaken, is this one, Insight Finder Supervisor skill, but we are going to create a new one. So please add a skill. Now let me just copy my text. On the name, you are going to use exactly the same prefix. BMC H in my case. And this time around, you can type BMC Insight Finder. I forgot here the supervisor skill. From the type, just select regular. Some of you may or may not see the type field. Don't worry. By default, it's regular. So there is nothing more you have to do. If you don't see it, please just continue. You don't have to worry about it. In my case, I do have it. So I just select regular. From the provider is the same provider that I just have, the BMC HelixGPT 0. From the user context, don't select anything. It's not necessary in this case. And from this instruction type, you must select agent. Once you have all of these fields, completed, you click on Add. Your newly created skill is going to be displayed on the left side panel. This is the one that I just created. Now, please go ahead and click on it. And now it's time to link this skill with the supervisor agent that we just previously created. So this step is crucial, guys. If we don't do it, the skill is not going to work. So we have to use BMC H Insight Finder Supervisor skill from the left side. And on the right side, just click under the agent tab. On this tab, the easier way for you guys to identify your own agent is, again, by typing here your prefix. And the list is going to be, on the list, your agents are going to be displayed. So now, the agent, you can see also here that we have both agents that we created. This is the one that we created first, and this is the ITSM Query Builder agent that we created. Please go ahead and click on the BMC Insight Finder Supervisor agent that we just created. This is the one that has to be linked to the BMC Insight Finder Supervisor skill. So please go ahead and be sure that you are selecting the Insight Finder Supervisor agent. And now, click on Apply. If you do not click on Apply, the link is not going to happen. This linkage is not going to happen unless the Apply button is selected. Any questions so far? Is everybody following? Can we proceed? Excellent. That's what I want to hear. Well, to see. Okay, now we click on Apply. And now it's going to be the last step. From the left side, you will see the visible column. Please click on it and select the ID. The ID of the different skills that you have, created here are going to be displayed. So now click on the one that you just created and copy that to the clipboard. This is the one that I just created. I click on copy, and this is the ID that we are going to be transferring to the Helix dashboard. Once you have copied this ID, it's time for us to get back to the portal. From the portal, you will need to select BMC Helix Dashboards. And from the Helix Dashboards, you just need to go to HelixGPT Insight Finder. And from the HelixGPT Insight Finder, you go to Settings. Under the settings, you have to if you have anything here, you will have to replace it. If you don't have anything here, it's fine. It's expensive. You just have to paste here the ID that we just created. The enable streaming and the enable follow-up recommendations, we highly recommend that you don't have it, you don't use it at this time. Please wait for the 25.4 version. Once you are upgraded, you can start using it, okay? So please, if you have it in the screen, just disable it and now click on save. This is crucial. If you don't save it, you won't be able to use it here, okay? Excellent. Now, the time of truth. So we go back here to the HelixGPT Insight Finder URL, and it's time for us to start typing, some of the different prompts that we can, start using the system with. Okay, so in my particular case, I have some prepared here. By the way, this self-help button here, you can just move it here, so it doesn't bother you. At least it bothers me. That's the reason I like to move it. Now you go here, show a breakdown of the incidents by the status as a pie chart. And you will have to see, I am hoping that all of you guys see the agent is thinking, okay? So this is how it's taking the information that you have here from the natural language and it's converting this to a visualization. In my particular case, again, I requested the breakdown of the incidents by the status as a pie chart, so the pie chart is displayed on the screen. Can I have a thumbs up as well for you guys to see if you are getting the same? Excellent. Happy to hear. So now it's just time for us to start playing with the agent. We have the breakdown here. You can also change the visualization chart to a different one. In my case, for example, I want to use a bar chart. You change it. It is very important, guys, that you get familiar with your LLM, okay? The language matters. So sometimes if you are not able to get what you are expecting to see, you can also validate it from here. If you go here to any of the visualizations that you guys are adding, you can see here the query that the agent itself was using that was, displaying after translated your natural language. So you can just validate from here if the agent itself was able to translate it in the way you require. If for any reason it's not translated, just play with the word. It's the only thing that you have to do. If you change maybe the way, use like a different words or maybe the order of the words, but eventually the agent, is going to be able to pick it up. This is AI. It's going to learn. So you have to have patience here and start playing with the agent, and you will be able to create fabulous reports. I promise you that. So in this case, again, I just have the visualization updated. Then you can say, hey, order the visualization. For example, in this case, you can see that you don't have a specific order. You can say order the visualization by descending order. And it's going to order the visualization. Well, in this case, it didn't do it, but yes, eventually, most of the times it's gonna do it. Now, something that I want to show you, that is why I'm telling you the language matters. For example, I am going, by the way, if you are starting here with incidents, for example, you cannot just all of a sudden change to change, for example, or to problem, or to work orders. By the way, the work order management is starting to be supported on version 25.4. I am telling you this because in the previous webinars, many people is asking about if we can also use work orders. On the 25.3, you cannot. On the 25.4, you can. Okay? So, but you can use, in this one, you can use, on the 25.3, you can use incidents, you can use change, you can use problems, DWP, CMDB, but we also added work orders on the 25.4. In addition to that, on the 25.3, for the ones that they have a different language that is not English, we do not kind of like a support locale on this version. It's only English. On the 25.4, we also support Spanish, we support German, and we support French. Okay? What is going to happen? Many people is asking me, okay, what if I start, asking the queries in Spanish, for example, or in Portuguese? Is the one that I have played with. Okay? Yeah, I have put some text here in Spanish and Portuguese, and yes, the system or the LLM is able to, to translate those queries. However, the response back to me is always in English. So whatever information the LLM is responded back is going to be in English. So just keep that in mind. On 25.4, you can use French, German, and Spanish. Okay? What time? I think that we have just time for just a few, examples. So now, so once again, if you want to change the topic, then you will have to, if you want to start inquiring about a different topic, you will have to click on the Start New Topic. Okay? It's just one thing at a time, okay? You cannot be thinking in different things. It's the way the agent works. Now, I am going to change this for problem management. And I am going to say, hey, show me the count of problems. If you do not specify the type of visualization you want, it's up to the model to decide what is the best visualization based on the text that you provided. In this particular case, I mean, it's just a count. Of course, it has to give me a number. But for example, I am saying, hey, show the distribution of the problems by business service. So now it's thinking, it's creating the query, but it's up to the model to decide what is the best visualization to provide. Okay, I never say, hey, please, I don't know, select it as a table, or as a bar, or as a pie chart, or whatever. However, if you specify a specific chart type that is not going to get aligned with information you are requesting, the model is going to tell you, hey, sorry, I cannot provide you this information in this way. I can provide you this information in this other way. But in this particular case, I never say, hey, just do it in this way, okay? Now, I'm going to show you something very cool here. In this particular case, I am going to ask to change it to a table first because I want you to show something. It's easier when we have it as a table. So now, from this table, you can see, for example, this particular field is blank. When you guys are creating reports on general basis, it might be for for management that they want to see specific data, and you do not want to provide this information that is incomplete. I mean, incomplete in the sense that it has blank data. If you provide it, most probably they are going to say, "Hey, what is this about?" No. So something very cool that I found here is that you can also, for example, ask the system to set, in my case, I am saying, hey, set the business service to unknown when the business service is null. Now it's translating, it's checking, and as you can see here, it just modified this particular field from blank to unknown. Keep in mind, on the database, that field in particular is still blank. This is used for reporting purposes. Nothing is being changed on the database. This HelixGPT Insight Finder is for queries only. It's not going to update, it's not going to delete, it's not going to do anything, on the database level. So now that this has been changed, now you can easily, create a report, and you can just say, hey, this is, I don't know what is unknown, but whatever, but at least it's not blank. So for me, I think this is a very cool feature that you guys can use and might find, handy. Okay? Excellent. So that's okay, let's try this time around. Let's see. Sometimes you can create more complicated queries. Hopefully my query is gonna work. Let's see. You can see here, I am just requesting generate a dashboard from the problem investigation that leaves the ID, the description, the submit date, the last complete date. I am asking specific fields from the table. If you do not ask it, it's up to the model to decide which fields he thinks that you have to have, displayed. For each problem, I am saying calculate the time to the resolution in hours and minutes and find the difference between the submit date and the complete date, where the last complete date is not known. So hopefully this is going to work because, guys, this is a demo. The demo, everybody's using a demo, and my data may change. But hopefully it's going to work. But my point here is that once you get familiar with the agent itself, you can generate a more complicated query. But first, get familiar with the easy queries. And once you get, familiar of how your model works, what is the kind of language you have to use, then you can just go ahead and start creating a more complex query. If I go to this query, you can see that it's, in my opinion, quite complex. I don't know. I am not an expert on creating dashboards. So it may take me a while, to find out, especially because I am using, formulas here to really calculate, the time difference between these fields. So that's the reason I say you can start playing with this. It's a powerful tool. You can really create very complex, dashboards, but it's you need to have time to start getting familiar how your LLM works, and then you go from there. Okay? Excellent. Something else that you guys is important to know. I am assuming that we have administrators on the call. So this is before we proceed. Once you have the dashboard in the way you want it, you just come here, you save it. For example, this is going to be workshop, I think it's number 7. Or 7. And then you just put here, again, whatever description, and you decide where to save it, okay? In my case, it's going to be just the, under the dashboards, you click on save. Okay, my dashboard has been saved. You go here, and then you just select the dashboard that you just created. Here, you can see it. This is what I was referring during my presentation, that is important for you guys to provide the rights to the users. You can see here the tab that is for Insight Finder. This means that this particular report was created by the Insight Finder. If you guys do not provide the access to your end users, they won't be able to access this report. Okay? It's necessary that you guys provide the access, at least to access the report, so they can, easily get it from here. Also, once the report is created, you cannot go back to the Insight Finder and start making modifications from there. This is for reports creation only. Our PMs are, trying to evaluate that in the future, perhaps they are going to have this cool feature to start, updating existing reports. But today is not the case. It's only for reports creation. If you need to modify it, you have to access it here, and you will have to modify it in the regular way you do it today. But it's not through the Insight Finder. Okay? Something else that is important for you guys to know, again, for the administrator. This is where I was referring when you have to bring your own data. By default, by the time that you go here to the configure views, you are going to see the different views here, okay? These are the out-of-the-box views. You can see here, out of the box, out of the box, out of the box. These are the out-of-the-box views that we provide to you. If you want to use your own fields, again, you have the work management here, but it's not working for this version, okay? If you want to bring your own, you have to use, here you have it, the Reporting Metadata Studio tool. This is a tool that you use, and you must update the existing out-of-the-box tables, and this is where you are going to bring your own. You cannot, from this tool, you can also have the ability to create your own tables but you have to have a certain expertise, okay? But you can do it, but that is not allowed. You will have to modify the out-of-the-box, and you will save it with a different name. And then by the time that you complete, the process in the reporting media studio, and you push it to the Helix dashboards, you are going to see your view under the supported views as one of the options, and you will have to select it, okay? You will have, for example, if you are going to modify the change management, you are going to unselect the out-of-the-box, and you are going to select the one that you have created, the custom one. Some customers were asking me, hey, are we going to have any problems after an upgrade? And I say, no, the custom views are not going to be updated, but you always have the risk, of updating the out-of-the-box. That's the reason. If you are bringing your own data, that means your own fields, you will have to update the out-of-the-box and then select from these views the ones that you have to use. It's up to the administrators to do it. By default, the system is not going to do it. By default, is going to use all these out-of-the-box. Clear? If you have any questions about this tool, please, guys, feel free. We can schedule a one-to-one session, or just please ask for additional information and we can provide it. Okay? But I hope that this is clear for you guys. And last but not least, you can download it here from the administration. You go to the reporting metadata, and this is where you are going to download this tool. You go here, you click download, and you are going to download information from this particular window. Keep in mind, the environment details is different for every environment. So you will have to enable the same for dev, QA, and pro. By default, not because you updated you brought the data in dev, it's going to be moved, directly to QA and pro. It's not the way it works. You will have to use the tenant details, the URL, and the host. The RCP port, because it's changing. If I am not mistaken, it's 46,000 for dev, 47,000 for for QA, and 48,000 for pro, if I am not mistaken. So this is changing. The same, the URL is not the same. The tenant ID is not the same. So all of these details, they are going to be different for every environment. However, you can copy these details from here, and by the time that you start using the application, you will be able to get information. So that's pretty much it, guys. This pretty much covers everything that I have to share for you guys today. Do you have any questions? Can I have some thumbs up saying, hey, yes, we got it, it's fine, no issues, and my agent is working perfectly? Excellent. Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, Sam, now all yours. Getting back to you. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Do you want to pull up the slides again, just so I can go through those? And yes. Then I'll start unmuting everyone, because I'm sure they've got a few more questions.
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, while I'm just going through these, if anyone does have any questions, continue to do so in the Q&A. And if you also want to speak live, if you want to raise your hand, we will come to you very shortly. So just a reminder, I'm sure many of you have been to the roadshows. You've probably heard me say this many times because you've been on the other workshops as well. We are going to be approaching Madrid and Frankfurt next week. So if any of you are in that region, we'd love to see you in person. Obviously, doing these digital events is a way for us to scale, but it's even better when you get the opportunity to meet our product team. And also some of our customer success team will be out in those regions. And then our final one will be in November, which will be Mexico. And then we will start all again next year from the summer, hopefully. So yeah, if you can get to the roadshows, we'd love to see you. I will also put that in the thank you email with the link where you can sign up and look at the events coming up. Next slide is our Gartner slide. So you may have seen this if you've already gone to the roadshows. It might have been flagged up or on our advocacy stand. We're always looking to get feedback. It doesn't directly go to us, but if you're successful, it will get published. But it is about our technology. So we would be really keen for you to provide the feedback to Gartner. If it's successful, then you will get a gift card directly from them. And how you can do that is either using that link in the middle or using the QR code. But again, we will be sharing these slides out, so don't worry if you haven't got bandwidth to do it today. And then the final slide is the summary slide. So just a reminder that if you are part of the community, if you can have a look at these workshop groups, they'll be quite useful to you. We've got a calendar and we've also got a workshop group. So the calendar will tell you about new events coming up if you haven't signed up already for them. So if you've done maybe a few workshops, take a look. We've got 15 in total, so there's still a few more to go until the end of January. And then we've also got the workshop group, which is where you can ask additional questions if you can't think of them right now, but you'd like to follow up. The team that are on here today and additional part of the customer success can help you with that. I think that's all the slides, Veronica. So if we want to go to the Q&A, let me just start unmuting people. And I think we've got one question actually. Tim, do you want to come off mute? Let me just find you because I think you were asking a question. I probably answered it incorrectly. Hang on a second. Right, I've just given you the ability to speak with us. You had a question? Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. It was the last query that Veronica put in the Insight Finder. It was the more detailed report. I was just wondering if I could get a copy of that in the chat.
Yes, let me just copy for you.
Yeah,
No
Veronica, if you want to copy it into the chat and I can put it to Tim in reply, unless you can get to the Q&A, if you can directly answer him, that would be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and while we're doing that, obviously, thank you everyone for your questions so far. I know you've kept the team busy. I'm going to be launching another poll very quickly for you, which will ask, now you've seen the session today, if you've got any further questions. We would just like to understand where your maturity is. If you've got anything that you want help with, that would be a perfect time to put your details in, and the team that are with me today will be following up with you directly. So if you do need one-to-one help, please raise your hands and obviously fill in this poll that we're going to send out. And then additionally, when you do get all of the content from today, there will be a mechanism of where you can ask further questions. Okay, so I'm just almost there with everyone. Unmuting if you want to ask us a direct question, or again, you've got the Q&A. Why I do that, I'm just going to ask Veronica, the rest of the team, is there anything else from obviously the other workshops we've done that you want to just share with the customers today? And then we'll go to Pascal's question. So I'm just opening it up to the panelists. Okay, obviously, Veronica, you've covered everything. So always good to know. So Pascal, I see you have a question. If you want to come off mute, you're more than welcome, but I will just read your question out first. Could you maybe come up with an idea and recommendation how dashboards should or could be organized in terms of we would like access, edit, permission to only a group of people per reports?
Yes, we can work on this just to give you, a better idea, and we will get back to you. But yes, I think that we can, provide some kind of recommendation.
Thank you, Veronica and Pascal. If you've got anything further, do let us know or come off mute. Okay, just responding back to that question. And then Tim, do you want to come off again off mute? You were asking about URLs in the chat for the workshop calendar.
Yeah, so from your last slide there in the slide deck, you had the BMC Communities Workshop group and workshop calendar. Is there URLs that we can directly get to them from, or do we have to just search for them?
Yes, and when we send out the thank you email, it will actually be in that email for you as well. They're all directly in the slides. If you click on them, they're obviously direct links. I will actually be sending that email with the thank you with the on-demand link for the recording that we're doing today. It will also have the slides and it will also have the URLs, but I will also pop that in the chat to you. Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Pleasure, no worries. So yes, we have got other workshops coming up. So we're up to, I think it's the 29th of January will be our last one for the 3 that we've been focusing on, which is Insight Finder, Service Collaborator and Service Catalog Curator. And then we will have a few RC Expert sessions, which are in between. So they're a great opportunity for you if you have general questions outside of these workshops. And then as soon as we start releasing more, we will let you know. And because you've already signed up to the actual workshop series, you will get a notification to tell you about the new sessions that are coming up. So that's it from me. Veronica, I don't know if you
Employee
had
Navigator is going to start next year. It's not going to
correct.
Be for this.
Yep, so Employee Navigator, we're looking at CMDB, and there is also going to be other ones that will come up like OpsWarmer as well, but it's just they're in progress and they're in demand from everyone that's been asking. We are listening to your feedback. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Sam, there was a question. There was a question from Tim about Amazon Bedrock, if it is being supported for the. So currently for Insight Finder, it is not supported. The other Helix ITSM specific ones.
For Employee Navigator, I think it is, if I am not mistaken, but not for
correct.
Insight Finder. Every agent has its own, compatibility. So we have a link that maybe we can provide to you guys for you to validate the model. And also, of course, on every version, we may, support additional models. You will have to go to the documentation to validate. But we can provide a link to you guys.
Thank you both, and I'll make sure we include that in the Q&A or something. We'll just add it as an extra resource so people have got access to it. But pretty much everything that's been shared today, don't worry about writing everything down. I'll make sure it's sent out to you, including the configuration guide. And if there's anything you feel is missing, just reach out and let us know. But it'll all be on the community pages as well. Okay. Anything else? I know when I normally say this, Veronica, there isn't questions, and then I go to say goodbye, and then there's a few more that pop in. So if we don't have any more, then obviously thank you everyone for attending. Thank you to our panelists that have been scurrying around answering all those questions. And Veronica, was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, nothing, guys. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share with you this new experience. It's very, very awesome. Thank you, guys.